How's it going, everyone? It is Prashan here, and I have Tucker here with me, and we're going over all of the top decks and cards this week in Marvel Snap. And how's it going, Tucker?
Hey, yo, it's doing absolutely amazing, Prashant. Like I say every week, and especially this week, I'm great to be here, and I'm ready to help you guys win the weekend. These decks right here, these new cards, awesome.
Yeah. Let's talk about Kate Bishop here. On reveal, add two arrows to your hand. What do you think about this card here? I think it's mid so far. I've seen a lot of people play bounce. I've seen a lot of people think highly of this card, but for me, it didn't really work out too well.
So to me, this card is a top 5 2-drop, and she's not number 5. I love the versatility of the arrows. The best arrow, arguably going to be a top 5 just 1-drop by itself, would be the Acid Arrow. Because it's literally a 1-drop goblin that's almost as good as the 3-drop Green Goblin. And it feels amazing having the tech, your opponent not necessarily knowing what arrows you have and everything too, gives you some versatility. I think this card's going to be also really good going into follow-up weeks, especially next week with Wiccan, to make sure you can hit your cards on curve to be able to play Wiccan out to get the extra energy. But I love this card, and I love how just like flexible it is. It kind of feels like a Nico kind of flexibility thing. But yeah, this card is awesome.
Yeah, I think it's okay compared to the certified Marvel Boy here. Whenever someone drops one of those arrows, like you're talking about, on my side, on curve, Marvel Boy tends to hit it. And it ends up being positive by the end of the game whenever I have one of those acid arrows on my side. But I think Marvel Boy, compared to Kate, in my opinion, is the far superior card. I think it works so well with Zoo. I think it's brought Zoo back into Marvel Snap, and you're able to play those 1-drops. You just have to make sure you have Kyra, or you just throw priority the whole time. But I think he's the gem of the season so far.
Yeah, I think he's really good. I think he's way more niche, but like he does elevate that Zoo archetype a lot, and like having him in that really enables you to go like vertically, honestly, more than you normally would be able to with Zoo, because normally it would be just a blue Marvel, but getting that extra +1, especially with 1-drops and curve, Marvel Boy is incredible. So I can agree that he literally helps Zoo even more. Zoo is already making a comeback, but Marvel Boy put it literally over the top.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then speaking of Zoo and Zoo decks, let's go right into it. We have some Marvel Boy Zoo. So we have Ant-Man, Squirrel Girl, Hydra Bob, Dazzler, Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, Marvel Boy Kyra, Shayna, Kazar, Blue Marvel, Gilgamesh, and Mockingbird. So this is probably the standard Marvel Boy deck at the moment. And of course, if you don't have Hydra Bob, Martyr can go in. You can put in Nico too for that flexibility. But this is the deck list that gets a lot of people to Infinite. Gilgamesh is super strong in this deck. Mockingbird works so well with Squirrel Girl and Shayna. So this overall, it's pretty good. And Hawkeye. Mockingbird works well with Hawkeye too. So pretty good deck.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing about this list is, like we always talked about, you can't Shang-Chi every lane. You can't Enchantress every lane. You can't, Red Guardian or Rogue every lane. So that really is what allows you to kind of scale vertically, especially if you don't put all your ongoing powers always on the same side of the board. And the Shauna value, I feel like more often than not, you either get a mid-roll or a high roll. So like being able to maximize that. And then like you said, if you do a Martyr instead of a Hydra Bob, there's nowhere for Martyr to move to lose you the game. So you're able to have that 5-power card continue to get extra power from Marvel Boy. So like potentially at the end of the game, you could have like a 1-8 or like a 1-9, depending on where Marvel Boy hits the cards. And then this list maximizes both Marvel Boy and Kate Bishop, which you guys probably opened for Marvel Boy. And maybe if you're not playing him, you have Red Hulk and Blob. So you have this now as another opportunity to play Marvel Boy and actually make use out of it. And like, the Kate Bishop arrows like you're talking about, even if you don't get the Acid Arrow, you have the arrow that gives you another Ant-Man, or it gives you another Hawkeye. So like, It's just overall really solid.
Yeah, very, very solid list to get you to Infinite. And then next here, we have Thena. Thena's been one of the top decks week after week after week. I wonder if they'll touch Thena or more cards around her soon, but definitely one of the top decks. Gwenpool, solid. Captain Marvel, solid. Especially after you play her after Gwenpool. And Copycat is definitely by far, I think, the best card of last season. I think it's a central card for everyone to have in Snap at the moment. And then Cassandra, if you missed out on her at Deadpool's Diner, I believe she should be available for everyone with tokens. So Cassandra's out there for public consumption. So what do you think about this deck here?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because like you said, like, do they touch Thena, or is it because it's the cards around her that's making Thena so good, or it's like literally her win condition is you have to play 2 cards specifically. But I think like with this list especially, those 2 3-cost cards that just came into the game, Cassandra Nova, there's still a lot of Arishem right now, so you're getting immediate Cassandra value. As soon as they take away the ability where you actually hear if Copycat goes off, because apparently that's a bug right now, Copycat's going to be even better. She's already fantastic because you're stealing ability from your opponent and they don't know what it is because they normally don't draw the last card in their deck. It feels incredible, and like you said, the Gwenpool value in this list is just immense. You don't know what Gwenpool hit. If it hits a Captain Marvel, that's insane. Even if it hits a Vision or a Jeff, you have so many different moving pieces in this list, you don't necessarily know where every card's going to go. And you, like we say every week, I feel like we have a different list that has Juggernaut in it. Juggernaut can just steal you games because whatever your opponent played on that lane final turn, if you're up, Juggernaut just moves it out of the way.
Yeah, I think Juggernaut has high value, especially since Cannonball sort of has been RIP'd recently. Everyone's realizing, okay, Juggernaut sort of does the same thing, right? So yeah, another good Thena deck. Every week, Thena. So something's going to happen to Thena. I don't know what, but I'm pretty sure something is. And then next, we have Arishem, this deck here that is a 55.1% win rate. So this deck has Loki in it. Loki is still pretty good. This one doesn't have Quinjet for some odd reason, but it's still, this deck overall still has very high value. And then even if you don't pull Loki, you still have cards to counter things, right? So you have Shang-Chi, you have Enchantress, a Legion, just in case you have like locations that go in your favor, especially when someone plays like Central Park and they put Legion on Central Park. It's so frustrating. They get those squirrels and then everyone's just locked out. But overall, I think Arishem, Loki's still pretty good in the meta.
Yeah, and I think that the main thing is like they don't have Quinjet in this list because they went full into tech. And I think because of Shadow King's buff to go through Luke Cage now, and like you said, like because Leech died, Legion was already making a comeback, and now Legion is just that better 5-cost card in that slot for Leech. You kind of still have your other typical things going on. You have Enchantress for all the Zoo, and you have Shadow King for affecting any cards that got hit by Marvel Boy. This list is just incredible. You have Cassandra for the mirror matchups, and then a turn 2 Loki is probably one of the best plays you can do in the entire game because you already have the extra energy, you're drawing an extra card, and they're discounted, so you have kind of a Quinjet just like that, and if you break with your Arishem list or have Blob already in hand, you can kind of just maximize that. It just feels incredible. Like, I'm a little bit lower on like the hate I had towards Arishem now because I feel like it's definitely more balanced overall. But I think the Leech changes would just really help me get over that. And the Darkhawk change because now you're looking at more 6-drops. They weren't running Magneto until recently. And honestly, Magneto, I think, still is a kind of underrated card right now, with especially all the Zoo being able to lock out some of these lanes early before the Gilgamesh on turn 6. I like this a lot.
Yeah, definitely solid list. I still won't play Arishem as much, but sure.
Yeah.
For each their own. And then next, we have Gwen Surf, 55.5% win rate. Still Gwen Surf on the list. I believe this is like 3 or 4 weeks in a row now. So Gwen Surf and Thena are staples in Marvel Snap that seem not to go anywhere. There's not that much change from, I believe, the list from last week's. The more of the same. Copycat definitely has a lot of value. There's no magic in this deck because obviously you play Sarah, and then you have like there's no Sarah. Well, there's Sarah in this deck, but there's no Hope Summers. That's what I'm realizing in this deck. There's no Hope Summers in this deck. That's wild. So I guess you're depending on Sarah to save you games just in case.
Yeah, you're really depending on Sarah, but I think one of the like main things like with this overall is that if you're into an Arishem matchup, I'm seeing more people doing Cassandra Nova into Absorb Man opposed to Brood into Absorb Man. So you can have that extra vertical power, and then you just play Sebastian Shaw and Surfer on another lane, and more often you're just going to win because you've just already absorbed so much power anyways. And even if it's not Arishem, the Cassandra Nova into Absorb Man is pretty detrimental. So some of these other decks, losing 2 power on your cards that you don't draw until turns 5 and turn 6 is really huge. And then of course you have like the Gwenpool value we were talking about as well, hitting any of these cards, as well as having a copycat as your tech card instead of like the Red Guardian or anything in this list. And then if your opponent doesn't have, TUCCRR, or if they don't draw TUCCRR till the end of the game, Killmonger just kills everything.
Yeah, I would suggest wait until turn 6 to play Killmonger. There's a lot of people playing Killmonger on like turn 3 just to get their like deaths out or something, or get their nulls bigger. Just wait until the final turn. A lot of these Marvel Boy decks don't run TUCCRR, and you can get away with a lot of good wins just by playing this on 6. Just snap. If you see Marvel Boy snap, you don't see TUCCRR by like turn 4 or something, like you got it pretty easily.
Yeah.
And then
even with all the Sandman Ultron stuff too, you can snipe Ultrons.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then next deck we have here, it's a good old Stature Darkhawk list. This list keeps on creeping up too, like but it's changed a little bit. Cassandra's in here, Moon Knight is in here. Moon Knight doesn't hit any of your cards in this deck except for Proxima Midnight, which you want it to hit, and then typically it hits something on the other side. It hits their like Ultron, it hits their TUCCRR, it ruins their game plan. So or even Shang-Chi too. It hits out Shang-Chi. So this deck is pretty sneaky. I like it a lot.
Yeah, whenever someone actually asks me what's the best deck in the game, I'd say it's this right here. I think the flexibility, the way it goes into matchups, you can clog your opponent's side of the board. You are also discarding cards that help them hit combos, and then you're negating cards with Cassandra. And like you said, the only card that you hit here is Proxima. With Moon Knight, just keep in mind if there is any locations that discount your cards, and they then become an even number, Moon Knight can hit those cards at the moment. But you're only really playing Moon Knight with Proxima in hand, or if you literally are into a Zoo matchup and you're like, boom, I'm going to snipe something.
Yeah, for sure. So it's awesome how this deck has evolved over time, and it's still pretty good. Like Stature Black Hulk deck, I think Stature Black Bolt, I think I went infinite with it a few seasons ago pretty easily, and it's still pretty decent. And then next, we have this deck here by W, Ultron Marvel Boy, which is pretty good. I ended up switching out Cole Obsidian. I put in Super Scroll because I was seeing so many mirrors. And then I felt Cole Obsidian, you could switch it out for Mockingbird too if you want, or Sasquatch. I think any of those cards work too in that slot. But another deck with Marvel Boy and some Zoo action, I think is pretty good. I think it's good to see Hydra Bob actually getting some value in these decks. I think it's a card that everyone pretty much skipped on or wasn't highly thought of whenever he dropped, but he's definitely getting some play in these Zoo decks, which I love. And if you don't have Hydra Bob, of course, Martyr.
Yeah, and I think the Super Scroll, I think, is the sneaky tech card that is really solid, because even if you're not playing Cole Obsidian, you're able to spread more power everywhere else if you do the Super Scroll. If you think of just like getting a blue Marvel kind of thing in that situation, it allows you to just get bigger. Of course, if you don't draw your blue Marvel, it makes it better too. There's just so much ongoing stuff going on. So if you are also, like we were talking about, facing some more of these Sandman mirrors, and you have a Super Scroll, you copy their Patriot, you copy, maybe they are running TUCCRR or something, but like, it's just really good. There's so much ongoing everywhere, and it's not even like negative ongoing, so Super Scroll stonks are through the freaking roof.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think this is a card that's always forgotten about, like for the most part, unless you have those Living Tribunal metas. And I know when Miss Marvel first came out, I played Super Scroll in my deck because I knew everyone was going to play Miss Marvel, and he had high value against that deck. Overall, yeah, those are the decks of the week. And next week, we have SnapCon, good old SnapCon next week. So maybe we'll do something special. Maybe we'll record it live. Me and Tucker can record this live or something for you guys. And then make sure you guys are checking out the Power on Twitch, Felicity's Twitch, And there's a number of creators that might be there that they might be going in live in person.
Mhm.
Maybe instead of snapping in their homes or living rooms or bedrooms, there's some in real life content for the people out there. And then you have anything else for the peeps out there, Tucker?
It's week 1 of the new season. If you guys haven't hit Infinite, I hope you guys hit it soon. Potentially either before reset today or reset tomorrow before the hot location appears, because hot locations always screw everything up, or play into the hot location. But yeah, I wish you guys the best of luck with your climb to Infinite, the best of luck for your leagues, which we all got that free Deadpool emote and some neon blue border. So shout out to you guys who are exploiting to help the rest of us.
Oh yeah, it's a win for everybody at this point.
But yeah.
So thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, Tucker. Till next time, be safe. Keep on snapping that. Peace.
Snap.